Hi, everyone. Welcome to Contemporary Art. I am your professor, Chelsea Rowe. I'm a practitioner in residence at UNH in the Department of Art and Design. I'm also the Foundations Coordinator in the art program, so many of you may have already had me. This class is going to be pretty different if you've had me as a professor before, as a studio class. This class is all about talking about art. So I'm going to be giving you all a lot of information about artists, about movements, about why people make art in the first place. Without further ado, I wanted to just in this intro video just kind of talk you through the whys, kind of the whens and the whys of this class, some specific details that you'll need to know, readings, things like that. So to start, I really wanted to talk about what even is contemporary art in this context. There are a lot of misconceptions about what contemporary art means. A lot of people automatically are kind of judgmental about the term. They kind of view it as like, oh, contemporary art is stupid, it's meaningless, it's all about money. There is certainly a lot of contemporary art that is about money. That is the reality of the art world that we are in. A lot of art is extremely expensive for a lot of crazy reasons, right? The art market is very different than the art world and those artists who are making art. This class is about the artists making the work. So I'm not going to talk necessarily about the financial implications of the banana at Art Basel. I'm sure it will come up. But for the sake of this class, I'm going to be talking about why. Like, why are these artists making these things? What were the circumstances around these artists that were making these artists make what they were making? The class as a whole is going to identify artists and terms, themes, styles, all of those things of ideas relevant to art from the 1940s to the present. I'm going to be jumping around, the timeline quite a bit. There are, in some ways, some art movements that are as early as the 1918, even the turn of the century, are extremely, extremely relevant to the types of work that people are making today. So I'm going to go farther back than 1940s, just to give context to where we are now. We're also going to compare different styles and techniques of artwork and really get in, especially in the second half of the semester, get into conceptual motivation. So concept being, why are these art pieces being made? And, what was the intention of this piece rather than what is it? We will certainly be talking about what is it, doing some visual analysis, which is a term I will be saying a lot. But basically, to answer the question of what is contemporary art, it is art that is contemporary. It's happening now. It's happening recently. The term contemporary art is fluid. So contemporary art, the entire art movement of modernism was contemporary art in the time it was being made. So it's hard to put context as an overall art movement of the artwork that we are currently seeing being made because we don't have hindsight yet on the artwork. So we're going to react to it as we see it, and I'll get into that in a couple slides. Some logistics for the course. I'm going to be drawing from two different sources for your readings, which will be supplied to you on Canvas. I will be scanning specific readings. I don't want anybody to go out and buy a massive textbook. If you are interested in buying or renting, going to the library to find these books, I know for a fact that The History of Modern Art by Arnason is available at the New Haven Public Library. If you are going to go out and buy one of these books, I do recommend In the Making by Linda Weintraub. This book is how I am going to be kind of basing the second half of the semester. It's not super recent. The book itself was actually written in the early 2000s, but the way that it breaks down different ways of looking at contemporary art are pretty timeless. So I'm going to be using the format of this book and the breakdown of this book in order to talk about artists who are working now. So we're going to be talking about a lot of artists who are, working in 2025 in the time that I'm recording this video. Generally, this is how you're going to be graded. Very important are the midterm and the final. You will need Lockdown Browser for both. They will be kind of a combination of slide identifications, which basically means I'm going to give you an image and you need to tell me the information about said image. There will also be some, especially on the final, a writing component to the final, which will all be on in a Canvas quiz format for the fully online class. So I'm going to go into, the details of the midterm and the final when we kind of cross that bridge. If you are one who needs accommodations, don't worry. The way that I do the remote finals or the remote midterms is you have the full day to start the exam with a time window. So, you can start it at 8 a.m. and finish it 2 hours later, or you can start it at 5 p.m. It's really kind of whenever you need to take it. That also is for if you're taking other classes or you have other schedule issues. There will also be writing assignments and discussions. Everything will be listed on the modules on Canvas. So I'm going to try to post things weekly or bi-weekly, depending on the week, depending on kind of the amount of things I'm asking you to watch or participate in. But expect participation. So do not wait until the end of the semester to watch everything. You will not do well in the class. There will be also discussions with due dates where you will be interacting with your peers, even though this is online and asynchronous, but you will need to be present, on the calendar timeline. Lastly, you'll have a creative response assignment, which is going to be a pretty simple ask. It's not a simple project, but you will have kind of creative freedom to react to a piece through making something of your own. So doing a piece of writing, making a painting, making a drawing, recording a video, it's really up to you what you want to do with that. Okay, so why? Contemporary art asks a lot of questions. A lot of people are, the first thing that comes out of their mouth when they see certain pieces is why? I don't get it. This is making me mad. I don't understand. Why is this art? I want you to be open-minded in this class. We're going to cover a lot of things that are confusing, a lot of things that ask a lot of questions. And in a lot of ways, I'm going to try my best to explain it fully, the context of why these artists are making these things and why it matters. These artists, in many ways, they're reacting to their world, they are expressing themselves, and it's my personal opinion that certain things that have no monetary value or are, quote, unsellable are the most important things in this world. And so these artists are talking about more than something that can be packaged and sold. They are living, they're reacting to their world. So that's kind of my secondary definition of contemporary art, is that these artists are living artists. They are creating their artwork as part of their living life. I also, in the vein of being open-minded, I want to go ahead and give a full content warning for the entire class. We're going to be talking about some pretty tough topics, dealing with topics of identity, artists who are, their entire body of work is about systemic racism. We're going to be dealing with highly sexual themes, some pretty tough themes. So that, all of that, if that's something that you don't think that you'd be comfortable talking about or learning about, then this might not be the class for you. So we're really going to dive deep into these issues and these topics. I wanted to show you this really intimidating timeline here, just to show just how complicated art history is. And this is just the 20th century. So don't worry, we're not going to cover all of this, but I just wanted to kind of show you, like, in a laughing way, of like just how much you could cover. There are people whose entire lives are dedicated to figuring out this timeline of history that we have thus far. We're going to actually start before this timeline, because I want to kind of give some context for where we ended up. And we're going to be jumping around this timeline a lot. So how the course is going to work, this is also going to be on your syllabus, which you definitely need to look at. But before the midterm, that's going to be the more history side of this class. So we're going to cover many of the isms, right? We're going to start with modernism. We're starting with modernism, and I'm going to talk about that. That's going to be, your first real lecture is going to be about modernism. That's when artists started questioning what it means to be an artist. So that's why I'm starting there. Really starting to question what it means to be a painter. What does it mean to create an image? Who am I as the artist? And then we're going to really go through the 20th century. So much changed in the 20th century in the arts. It's pretty wild. With the, the widespread understanding of psychology, the invention of the computer. Are you kidding me? Like, that changed everything. So we're going to go, it's a wide breadth to cover, but we're going to go all the way from artists like Edouard Manet, who were modernist artists, to performance art, which became very, very popular in the 70s and 80s, with artists like Bruce Nauman, who were using their body to create the artwork, where, it wasn't even close to just a painting on the wall anymore. It was about the space. It was about creation. It was about the artist. After the midterm, we're going to be talking more in a different way. So after the midterm, I'm going to be jumping around a lot timeline-wise, but it's all going to be very contemporary work. So within the last 20 years. So our work that necessarily doesn't have, we don't have hindsight on it yet. We're living with it now. I'm going to be breaking these down into why are they making art. So I'm dividing them into conceptual topics. Things like artists who are thinking about the audience. Artists that you can break down based off of the types of inspiration that they have in making art. The entire idea of identity in art, which is, in the past 10 years or so, like, that has become a very, very important topic. Artists like Mary Read Kelly and Patrick Kelly, who are, this is her pictured here, who use things like current events, and poetry, and also complete randomness to make their artwork. So that's the end of my kind of overall spiel of the course. Please double check the module and make sure you have everything for this week. I really look forward to this class. Please do not hesitate to email me with questions. My email is on the syllabus. And if you are on campus, you can find me in Dodds 218. Thanks a lot, everybody.